Every hero begins with a dream. On the edge of a bright coastal city, high above the ocean cliffs, stood a guide dog academy where only the strongest were chosen. The tall ones, the confident ones, the ones who looked perfect from the very beginning. And then there was him, small, short, barely noticed as the others walked proudly through the gates. The trainers measured strength, they measured height, they measured potential with cold lines on a wall, and he didn't quite reach them. Whispers followed him down the hallway. Too small, too weak, too different. For a moment, even he started to believe it. But dreams don't measure size. They don't care about inches or expectations. Dreams measure courage. And even with trembling paws and a heart full of doubt, he took one small step forward and walked inside anyway.
Training began the next morning. The obstacle course stood taller than he expected. Buttons placed just out of reach, harnesses heavier than they looked, commands delivered quickly, confidently, as if hesitation didn't exist here. He tried. He jumped for the elevator button and missed. He pulled the training harness and slipped. He guided the instructor forward, but his small body couldn't keep the line steady. One test failed, then another, and another. Around him, the larger dogs moved smoothly through every challenge. Strong strides, steady posture, perfect execution. His name slowly settled at the bottom of the scoreboard, and for the first time, the dream felt fragile. But that night, when the academy lights dimmed and the ocean wind whispered through the campus, he stayed. Alone in the quiet hallway, he studied every obstacle that defeated him. If he was small, then he would think bigger. If he was different, then he would move differently. He wasn't ready to quit. Not yet. The next day, something changed. He stopped trying to be like the others. Instead of jumping higher, he searched for something to stand on. Instead of pulling harder, he adjusted his grip lower and steadier. He moved slower, but more carefully. One obstacle cleared, then another. Not with power, but with precision. The instructors began to notice. The whispers grew quieter. Curiosity replaced doubt. He practiced at sunrise while the campus still slept. He measured angles. He memorized pathways. He turned every weakness into a strategy. He wasn't growing taller, but he was growing stronger. Not in size, in understanding. And when the announcement echoed across the courtyard, final evaluation tomorrow, he didn't lower his head. He lifted it. The final evaluation arrived with silence, heavier than any command. The course was different this time. Wider gaps, sharper turns, distractions placed intentionally to test control. He moved carefully, remembering everything he had learned, step by step, until he reached the final obstacle, a wide construction simulation, unstable ground beneath, a deep drop ahead. He calculated, he adjusted, he tried, but his small frame couldn't secure the harness firmly enough to demonstrate full control. The whistle blew, and just like that, it was over. Graduation day came with applause. Badges were placed proudly on steady chests. His vest, however, was gently removed. Not cruelly, not angrily, just officially. The dream he carried through those gates now felt heavier than ever. And this time, he didn't fight the tears. Life, however, does not pause for ceremonies. Outside the academy gates, beyond the applause and polished floors, the real world continued. A blind woman walked carefully along the sidewalk near the construction zone beside the campus. Her cane tapped steadily, unaware of the open pit just steps ahead. Inside the academy, disappointment still echoed, but outside, danger was real. He saw it before anyone else did. There was no test, no whistle, no instructor watching, just a moment and a choice. He ran, small paws striking pavement with urgency. He reached her just as her foot hovered near the edge. Grabbing the strap of her handbag, he pulled, not perfectly, not powerfully, but firmly enough. Confused at first, she resisted, but he guided her gently, carefully, step by step, away from the danger, around the construction barrier, back to safe ground. By the time the staff rushed outside, it was already done. She knelt, hands trembling, tears forming as she held him close. In that embrace, there were no measurements, no scoreboards, no minimum height requirements, only purpose. The academy director approached slowly, holding a graduation badge, an offer, recognition, validation. He looked at it, then gently nudged it back. He didn't need permission anymore. He had already graduated from doubt, too small to pass their final exam, but big enough to save a life.